Hello and welcome back to the Pure Nintendo podcast. My name is Gemma. Today I have with me two special guests from Pure Nintendo. I have with me Trev. Welcome, Trev.
Hey, yeah, I'm excited to be here.
And I also have Kirk. Hi, Kirk.
Hey, hello. Good to be here as well.
Welcome to the show. We have astute listeners will notice we've had a little bit of a hiatus over the last 2 months or so, but we're back with a vengeance. Just changing things up a little bit. And we just wanted to say a call out, first of all, to our good friend to the show, Roger, who was previously one of the co-hosts who's moved on. So thank you, Roger, for your time with us, and we wish you all the best. And so now we're going to be running things, hopefully with a different crew each week, but hopefully it'll be kind of the base of Trev and me, and then whoever else wants to join from the crew. So yeah, we'll see how we go week to week. But for now, this is the first show for March. And we've got a lot to talk about today. So I think, first of all, I just wanted to call out our upcoming magazine issue. So listeners will also note that we talk about this a lot because it's a very exciting product that we put out every other month, the Pure Nintendo magazine. And Trev, what's the latest status? We have one coming out pretty soon, right?
Well, I have it on good authority that the last bits are being finalized this weekend.
Awesome.
So, I feel like at the end of every week, it's like next week for sure. But this time I really have a good feeling that the ball is going to be rolling, so to speak, on.
Excellent. Yeah, it's very exciting because this is our first print issue for a few years, right? We've been digital only for a little bit, but we've moved back into print. Right?
Yeah, have we officially announced that even?
Well, maybe this is
or
the
is
announcement.
This it?
This is the announcement.
Surprise.
It's happening. Surprise. It's coming. It's coming. It's happening. And if you listeners would like to be part of our awesome print distribution, please go and support us over on patreon.com/Pure Nintendo. We put out this really nice glossy magazine every other month with lots of news and reviews, stuff you can't get on the website. So it's really exciting. I love writing articles. It's such a different genre to writing for the web. Do you guys find that as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like sometimes the mag gets my A game, and I feel like I should be consistent, but it's just, I don't know. It's a little different.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you find the same thing, Kirk?
Yeah, I think when I'm writing for print, I take it. I don't want to say I take it more seriously, but I'm considering like it feels like it's going to be around longer. Like the kind of thing where in 3 years someone's going to pick up this mag again and look at it, and so I want to make sure that what I wrote is going to still be relevant for the most part. Whereas like for the website, I tend to get a little more flippant and a little more like making more timely references.
True. Yeah, it's a bit more of the moment, isn't it? I think that's true.
Yeah.
But for you, because you're I think one of the best writers on the team, Kirk. So for you to say that, and I love your I love your reviews that you do for the site. So to hear that you actually put in even more effort in the magazine, it's like, wow, how do you even do that? Because your writing is very good already. So.
Well, thanks a lot. Let's hope some people subscribe and agree.
yeah, for sure. So I'm very
with
excited
all of
about
us.
that.
I mean, all the writing from the staff members that we have here, I think is very engaging, and there should be a lot that people would be looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it out in print. I haven't had a print copy of the magazine for a while myself, so it's very exciting to hold it physically and to see your articles in print. I think is cool as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think even though we've had a bit of a break, so we haven't had an episode since January, but I was thinking that this year feels to me like a pretty good year to be a Nintendo fan. And I think we've gone off to a pretty good start. I don't know, and I want your opinion on this, but, we started off the year with Fire Emblem, a new Fire Emblem game in the series. We've got the Mario movie coming out. We've got Zelda coming out. We've recently had a few new games like Kirby, Metroid, etc. And do you think, I don't know what the second half of the year will hold, but do you think we're off to a good start for Nintendo? How do you guys feel?
I can say, go ahead, Trev.
Oh, yeah, no, I think so. There's obviously, people will never be satisfied, especially Nintendo fans, but, I can't remember the last time I was looking for like a game to play. Like it's been so long. I just always have stuff to play. So
that's true.
Yeah. And not even, not even just review stuff. Like even if I was just playing for fun, it's just there's more than I could play in this generation or next. So yeah, I think it's good, especially. I mean, we're the 6th year, so
we just celebrated the anniversary this weekend. I think, right? I think I saw that online. Yeah, which is pretty cool. Now, what do you think, Kirk?
Yeah, I was just discussing with my oldest son that my favorite game last year was Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Absolutely loved it, and they just released, was it about 2 weeks ago now, the latest wave of the DLC, and I haven't even touched it because I've had so many other games that I've been playing that I want to wrap up. Or I've also been fortunate. I have a couple of early codes to games that are coming out soon that I want to make sure the reviews are ready to go when we launch. So I've been hitting those as well, and they're excellent too. So yeah, the fact that I can't go back and enjoy Xenoblade Chronicles 3 the way I want to because I'm too busy, I think speaks very well of what Nintendo's been putting out.
It's an interesting problem to have where we've got almost like too much choice. I think I'm the same as you, Trev, where I have to kind of pick and choose which games I can play at the moment because I just don't have time for all of them.
Yeah. It's a good problem to have, but
I think so. Yeah, it's better than the opposite. Not having enough would be terrible. So, and it's good that there's something kind of for everyone. There's obviously a lot of RPGs at the moment, which I know you're pretty into, Kirk, and I know there's something almost for every person. Like Kirby is very good for the younger audiences. There's Metroid for those kind of more mature audiences. There's a bit of everything going around, which is also such a great time, I think, to be a fan. But the other thing I wanted to kind of highlight that's happened recently, which happened in February, is the launch of the Super Nintendo World in LA, in Los Angeles, which is another kind of cool Nintendo thing that just happened. Obviously, there's the one in Japan that launched. Was that last year or the year before? I can't remember because it got postponed with COVID. So I don't know when it officially launched. Do either of you know? No,
I do not.
No, that's okay. I knew. I was following it when it was originally due to launch because I was almost in Japan at the time. I just missed out, but then it was postponed a couple of times with COVID. So I think it only maybe opened last year. But the cool thing is that one of us got to go to the LA preview, right? The media day before it actually opened. So Kirk, that was you. Do you want to tell us your story?
I will. Well, we got access. I found out that I was going to be going or had the opportunity to go to the media day. I think there were 2 media days, one Wednesday, one's Thursday, and mine was Thursday, the day before it opened. And I found out on Wednesday afternoon, the day before, that I could do it. So I had to hurry up. It all worked out. Thankfully, the airport that I'm flying out of had a direct flight to LA that would get me there. I think I got into LA at 9:30 a.m.
Nice.
Pacific time. So I was up at 3:30 a.m. my time to get on the flight because I'm on the Eastern Standard. But, I've taken that flight many times. Curiously, it's the exact same flight I take when I go to E3. One nonstop out of Cleveland with the airline that I prefer a day. And that's the one I got.
That's cool.
So I was there. I got a lift to City Walk. I'm sure most of the readers or many of them have not been to Universal Studios Hollywood. It was my first time too. But there's a large sort of like shopping restaurant area right outside the entrance to Universal Studios. So it was a good place to hang out there because there was just a lot to see and a lot to do. And I was able to kill some hours. And I had my Switch with me. So I bought a coffee and I sat down at Starbucks and played some Switch.
Nice.
But then I went to check in. I wasn't supposed to go to the park until 2:00. It was about 1, but they just said go. So
cool.
Yeah, they put us on a shuttle and drove us through the back lots behind a lot of things. I could see a lot of the they look like warehouses. It looks like where they actually do some filming, and there were other tour trams moving around of people who are getting tours of various things. So. Cool. But yeah, then we got to the park and I went inside Super Nintendo World, straight through the warp pipe and into I don't even know how exactly to describe it. You've seen the pictures where you're in it, and it just looks huge and it looks like it's tall and it's going up and away from you, but the whole thing is actually very tiny. I don't want to make it sound bad. I don't know what I was expecting, but it's an enclosed area with a lot going up on the sides. Let's say it's sort of like if you were at a basketball arena or a hockey arena, and you're on the court or the ice, and you're looking up at the stands going up away from you. That's kind of the feeling you got, is you're completely surrounded by these visuals, these excellent visuals of what it would be like if you were like in a Super Mario game.
Cool. Sounds pretty amazing. So how long were you there for the rest of the afternoon until closing?
Let's say I got there maybe at around 1:30 and left maybe around 4:45. My time was supposed to be from 2 to 5. So I spent quite a bit of time there taking things in, getting a lot of photos. And I did put a photo gallery up on the website. So if anyone's listening and hasn't seen it, go to purenintendo.com and just do a quick search for Super Nintendo World and you'll find that gallery.
Yeah,
but an awful lot to see.
Yeah. Do you think
for the record too? I was looking in the email, which I had been keeping an eye out for, and I still managed to miss. But so Kirk's slot was from 2 to 5, so I got a confirmation from the rep at 3:15 the day before. So that's less than 24 hours.
Yeah,
for Kirk to book his travel and crazy.
Yeah, sadly, getting there by warp pipe wasn't an option. I did have to fly.
Yeah, that would have helped a lot. Maybe in the future.
Yeah, or like just run across the top of the clouds like in the game.
Yeah, or don a cape or a tanuki suit and just fly yourself there. Do you think? I'm guessing 3 hours. Excuse me. Generally, wouldn't be enough time to take it all in. I know that's what you were given, which is great that we even had that opportunity. But for someone going from the public, how much time would it be? Like an all day experience, or is it kind of an afternoon? How much stuff is there?
I think it wouldn't be all day. Maybe I would say either a quarter of a day to half a day, mainly because it's just one portion of Universal Studios Hollywood. So as you go into the park, it's like clear towards the back, and you're walking through the other attractions that they have. In fact, towards the end of the day, I actually found out I could get out of the Super Nintendo World. They had a gate there, which I thought was blocking me from the rest of the park, but it wasn't. It was stopping people from getting in, which makes sense.
Okay, cool.
So, I was able to walk out quickly and see the Mummy ride. There was a Transformers things. I went up to Springfield, the Simpsons park that they had, and saw Moe's Tavern and the Quickie Mart and those things as well.
We need to go there, Trev.
It's just a portion. You would want to do other things as well.
Yeah, okay. So do you buy, sorry, this is a bit technical, but just out of curiosity, do you buy a ticket for Super Nintendo World, or do you buy a ticket for Universal and that gives you access to Super Nintendo World?
You buy a ticket for Universal and it gives you access to it.
Cool. Okay.
From what I understand, they didn't explain this there, but I saw this afterwards. You need to kind of like book a time for when you're going to go into Super Nintendo World.
Okay.
Which I think maybe just because it's new and a lot of people will be going there and they don't want it to be overcrowded. So maybe eventually that would stop. But the other thing that you would need to purchase separately is when before we got into the park, they gave us our wristbands, which were kind of the interactive sort of sensors that you get for various Mario characters. I got Luigi. But then there are tons of attractions or interactive elements throughout the park where those come into play. There are boxes that you can hit, the power-up boxes to gain points. There are various activities you can engage in. There's a Piranha Plant thing where you're like hitting these clocks and you got to do it as they light up within a certain amount of time. It's kind of like a life-size whack-a-mole.
Right.
Except I don't think you're supposed to hit them that hard. And I will say that despite my age, I did get that done.
Nice.
I needed one assist from the guy. There was one that was too far away from me, and he hit it for me. One of the workers at the park, but otherwise, I did pass that challenge.
Cool.
But yeah, so there are all kinds of things like that. And then the wrist, you connect it with an app. And so I had Luigi's wristband, So all of the things that I did count towards the number of coins that I'm collecting. And then you can check throughout the day to see who's winning, whether it's Mario or Peach or Toad. I do know that every time I checked Luigi, he was in last place. So I'm going to take some of the blame for that because I did not fare as well at some of the other interactive activities as I did the Piranha Plant. But yeah, there's just a lot to do, but you don't have to do that. I think those bands cost $20. If you just wanted to go in, take it in, ride the Mario Kart ride, you don't need to spend the extra to get that wristband, but you do get to keep it. So it becomes a good souvenir.
That's cool. So you just mentioned the Mario Kart ride. Is that the only ride there?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. The one in Japan has the Yoshi ride, which is kind of like a people mover kind of thing, I believe, a slower ride. And this one is an augmented reality. It's set up kind of like the and I reviewed this also, so I'll go over what I talked about in the review. But again, for anyone listening, you could go to purenintendo.com and do a search for Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge, and you'll be able to see more on this, including some quite a few photos that I got along the way. You know what? I'll talk about it real quickly from the moment you start into the ride till you get to the end, because you can tell that it's built up to accommodate a very long line. There was no line when I was there, but if you've ever been to any of the Disney World parks, or I'm sure any other ride at Universal Studios, the lines are... You're going through Bowser's Castle. You're going through these caves that are, I believe, inspired by Yoshi. They're like a lot of black light, a lot of really cool things to look at. There are a lot of little jokes along the way. Like once you get into Bowser's Castle, there are books on the shelves that, have kind of like humorous titles for anyone who's played this. They're going to get the references, a lot of reference jokes throughout this. So there's a lot to see along the way. Movies, they have like little cool sort of like 3D movies that are set up on smaller screens to watch. Photo opportunities. You can get friends taking pictures of each other in front of a lot of things. They're clearly looking to make it look like so you don't feel like you're wasting however much time you're spending in the line. I did look on Friday when it opened, and the app, the Universal app, tells you how long it looks like a line is going to be for the rides that you're on. And I believe it was only an hour and 10 minutes was what they were listing, which seemed pretty impressive to me. I don't know if that's low or high.
For day one,
you'd
think it'd be,
I would have expected more. But again, since they're restricting the number of people going into the park, then, the lines, a lot of the line is actually outside the park, not inside. But yeah, so and it's really cool. The whole setup is great, especially Bowser's Castle. Once you're in there, it's really well lit and very funny. A lot of cool things to look at.
And I think I saw one of the images. There is a big statue of Bowser, right?
Yes,
that looks awesome.
Right. You go inside. The castle is Bowser's open mouth is the entryway. You go inside, and yes, then they have a maybe about a 20-foot, 15 to 20-foot statue of Bowser. It looks great.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool.
Kirk, I got to ask, did you eat at the Toad Cafe before you went on the ride? Because I was reading about the waist restrictions there for the harness.
About the waist restrictions. What they say, it's like 40-inch waist is what that is. Two thoughts on that. First, I did see some people who looked to me like they would have been bigger than that, and they got on and there was no problem. So I don't know how heavily that's enforced or if it really is that big of an issue. The second thing is, and I'll talk about this more when I get on the ride, I don't even understand why that would be there, because this isn't like a huge roller coaster that's whipping you around all over the place and you're like really need to be harnessed in well. You're on like a fun house ride. It's an on the rails cart that moves kind of slowly. So I don't even know why that would be there. I'm not an engineer. I don't know the whole process behind it, but the fact that there is that waist size restriction seemed odd on a ride that really doesn't move that fast.
Interesting.
And no, I rode the ride twice. I rode it first. I went to the cafe, and then I rode it again. So
there you go. That kind of answers your question, Trev.
Do they have one of those signs? They say you must be this tall, or do they be like, you must be this thin to ride?
Yeah, they make you go through a cutout hole. It's like that game where the cutout comes at you and you have to get in the right shape.
Oh yes,
in order to fit in.
So now that explains why Mario his butt looks a little thinner in the movie. You know, he hasn't got quite that bubble.
Oh yeah,
he slimmed down for the ride. That's what's happened.
So
Wario can't ride it, but Waluigi can.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So tell us about the ride itself. So it's not. So it does move, right?
Yes, it does move.
Okay.
Well, once you get close to the end, they give you a helmet. It's just like a visor, a plastic visor. And when I say visor, I mean like there's no top to it. It's just, fits around your head and it's got a little cap on the front. And then it has sensors. It has motion sensors, one on each side, one on the back, and one on top. So you put that on. Then when you actually get into the ride, and the rides are carts with like 4 seats, 2 in front, 2 in back. You get in the ride, and attached to that is the augmented reality visor, the AR visor, which you snap on to the helmet that they gave you via magnet. That visor, it's about maybe 2 inches off your face, 2 or 3 inches off your face. And that is where most of the entertainment value of this ride is, because a lot of those things, it projects a lot of 3D images on there. So in addition to what you're seeing on the ride itself, the physical lighting and the physical effects, there's also all these digital effects that are happening. And the cool thing about it is throughout the whole ride, what you're doing is on the steering wheel, they have thumb buttons, and you're hitting those to fire turtle shells.
Cool.
But the AR visor will be showing you things that you're supposed to hit. So you'll see it on the visor, but because of the way it's set up, it looks like you're looking down a 3D plane at all of these things. And then you have to turn your head to hit them, or that's how you aim. So wherever your head is facing is where you're shooting. You're not actually turning with the steering wheel or anything like that. It's all head, which is a little inaccurate, or I should say it's not inaccurate. I was inaccurate because I had gotten into the habit of just looking with my eyes to see what I was supposed to be hitting. So I'm looking right at what, a boo, and I'm firing a completely different direction because my head is facing straight and my eyes are looking to the left. Right. So you need to really get used to using your whole head in order to aim.
Cool. Was that easier the second time then?
Yeah, well, I did better, but only by 1 point. So I think the first time, like the first time you play an arcade game and you have no idea what you're doing, and you always get one of your best scores because you're not overthinking anything. You're just trying to survive. That's kind of what I was doing on the Mario Kart ride the first time. So I think I got 99 points the first time and 100 the second time, which seemed good to me. It was never enough to win in my cart, because at the end of the ride, they show you this is what everyone in your cart got. And then they show the best score of the day. And the best score was like 237. So I was nowhere near. And I'm sure even after me, that went higher.
That's not too bad. It's not like there was 2,000 or 3,000 or something.
Yeah, I wasn't that low. But then, so the ride moves, and it does things like, you'll spin out and it'll actually turn you quickly. Not too quickly, but you'll turn. And then like during the launch segment, when it pushes you forward kind of suddenly, and all of the effects on the screen and the other things are moving behind you. So even though you're really probably moving no faster than 10 miles an hour, you feel like you're launching. Your brain's just completely tricked into thinking you're doing more than you are.
Cool.
And that's throughout the whole thing. You drop underwater, you go in the air, and because of the way the visuals are there, it feels like it's more than it is. And that's kind of wonderful. In that regard, I mentioned in the review, I'm a thrill park kind of guy. I'm a roller coaster guy. I grew up near Cedar Point in Ohio, which is it's the roller coaster. As far as I know, it's still the best roller coaster park in the entire world. It doesn't have the tallest roller coaster anymore, or the fastest, but it's got the best volume of them. So I just love roller coasters. So these things aren't exactly my thing, but I'm always impressed by the technology of it. And let's just get right to the end now. When you start to gear up for Rainbow Road, it's fantastic. Like, I don't even really play Mario Kart that much, but I got chills both times when we got up to the Rainbow Road thing, and you're sitting there like we're about to hit it. And then the way the visuals were doing that, it was just so gloriously lit. and the visuals were fantastic, and you're still playing the game. So you're trying to take it in, but at the same time, you're worried about your score. You're getting inked along the way, and then the whole visor gets covered in black, so you can't even really see what's going on. A lot of elements like that. Anybody who's played a Mario Kart game, even if you've only played it a few times, you're going to recognize the elements of it and just have a blast on this ride.
That's awesome. That sounds so cool and sounds very Nintendo, because they wouldn't just do a normal roller coaster, would they? They would do it the Nintendo way, which is like this crazy, innovative thing. Like, I've never heard of anything like this before. I don't know. Is there anything like this in the world in terms of roller coasters or rides? It sounds really unique.
There are, like, I went to Disney Orlando a few years ago, and like the Avatar ride was kind of the same thing. It wasn't where you were in a cart. You were like suspended on this thing that sort of bounced you up and down and tilted you. But again, almost everything that you're seeing is handed via the visuals that are around you. Nothing that I had done at Disney used the AR effect, the goggle effect, nearly as well as they did on this Mario Kart ride. And that's the whole thing, is that it really feels like a video game, except you're experiencing the video game instead of just playing it. And that's why I think this ride was so successful.
That sounds amazing. I want to go. Trev, when are we going?
I have it in good authority. No, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was hoping to go this year because we were planning to go to E3. And we've just recently found out Nintendo won't be at E3. They're not doing anything special for E3. So probably not. I'm in Australia, in case you can't tell listeners by my accent. So I'm quite far from LA, but I was planning to travel quite happily for that event. And while I was there, also take part in Super Nintendo World. Do you have any other, so before we move on, do you have anything else you wanted to add about Super Nintendo World? My question, Kirk, actually, merchandise, because I'm big on merchandise. Did you go to the shop? Did you buy anything? Or did you just have a look around and think, this is neat for fans? What did you think?
I did go to the shop. It's one of those setups like most of the parks have now, where when you leave the Mario Kart ride, it dumps you off right in the gift shop. So you can't avoid it. If you're going to ride the ride, you're going to go into the gift shop.
Yes, typical. Yeah, very clever.
And that's fine. It's exactly what you expected. In fact, if you've been to some of the Super or the Nintendo stores, I'm pretty sure it's the same way. In fact, at City Walk, there is a Nintendo gift shop before you even get into Universal Studios. And it wasn't a whole lot different from that, except some of the gifts were more ride centered. They had a lot of Mario Kart style T-shirts and elements like that. There's a lot there. It is expensive, but it's no more expensive than, let's say, anything at Disney. You're going to pay $10, $15 more for a shirt than you would anywhere else. And they had a lot of great little souvenirs. If you're a collector, absolutely go there. You're going to find a lot. I think I personally would have been a little happier with it if it had branched a little bit more into the other Nintendo properties instead of just what's right there at Super Nintendo World. But it's well laid out, a lot of products, a lot of variation. So I think anybody who's looking to add to their Nintendo collection, if they're going to Super Nintendo World, definitely go there. You're going to be happy with some of the things you could pick up. And a lot of people did. I didn't buy anything. My flight was so short that I didn't even pack a suitcase. I just packed a backpack, hopped on the plane because I was just coming back that night. So I didn't have anything to carry, any big souvenirs home.
Fair enough.
But
it sounds like it's pretty Mario oriented, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's very.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I love Mario, so it's great. But yeah, I think it would be nice. Maybe they will do that in the future, expanding. You'd like to see some kind of rare stuff that you might not find anywhere else, considering you're kind of in this special place that you're not going to go to very often, and you've paid to get in there, and that would be cool. But anyway,
Yeah,
Everyone loves Mario.
and one of the things I missed, I think I read about it ahead of time, but I didn't think of it while I was there. And then I was looking what some other people were saying about their time there, and they were talking about various Pikmin hidden throughout the park.
Really?
I didn't see them anywhere, but then I thought, if they had little Pikmin that I could have bought, I've always had the idea of in the sort of like landscaping in the backyard of my house. I would love to take little Pikmin and just and the various enemies in the game and kind of scatter them about. I always thought would be kind of fun. So I would have absolutely snapped that up if I had the option to do so.
That is a great idea. Nintendo listening.
Yeah, exactly. I got a whole area. I would completely set up a little diorama in my backyard.
Oh yeah, I would
just
totally
be careful with the weed whacker that you don't decapitate any poor Pikmin.
You don't want to see those little ghost Pikmins rising into the air.
Yeah, I would do it on purpose. Like if they became those little ghosts, I would feel terrible about it, but that would be so cool to watch them. And I've killed them in worse ways in the game than with a weed whacker. So
yeah, I always feel really bad when I leave them at night. When the day ends and you didn't quite get them all back to your ship, and then the monsters come and eat them, and you're like, no, my Pikmin. I feel really bad.
I want to replay the day.
Yes, and sometimes I do, just because I don't want to lose them. But anyway.
Yeah.
Oh,
one other thing I do want to mention about the park before we move on is the Toadstool Cafe. Mm-hmm. There are two things struck me about that. First, the way it's set up is very. It's not like any park that I've been to before, and I don't know if it's something that's going to happen as they move on. But the attention to detail and the way they treated you was crazy. I went in, I placed my order. I ordered the super mushroom soup, which I will say was absolutely fantastic. I don't know that I've ever been to a park where something like as simple as a bowl of soup was that good. Usually it's just like some crappy slice of pizza and some cold French fries. It was great. And then I got this cake, the 7-layer, the 7, I can't remember what it's called now. My apologies. Again, it's in my review, but it was this cake that was great too. But you placed the order and then they gave you the tray and you went and you kind of stood in a line there and they waited until there was a seat available, and then they took the tray from you and they said, okay, follow me. And you went and sat down and they took the napkin off the tray. They took off the utensils. They organized this all for you. Like they were just treating you like you were in some kind of like 4 or 5-star restaurant. And it was really cool. Wow. And the great thing about it wasn't the type of situation where usually if you're in a park like this, you get your food and then you just wander around with your tray for 15 minutes waiting for somebody to get up and hoping you're near that table where they got up so you can hurry up and sit down. Mm-hmm. They're preventing that from happening. They're waiting until something goes, and then they take you to that. So no one's going to rush and get your seat. Wow. And then you sit down and enjoy the food. And it's really cool in there too. The visuals, the way it's set up, again, really good. But yeah, the food was great. The service was fantastic. And I really hope that that's the way it is as the park continues to attract people, that they're able to keep that going, because I thought it was a wonderful touch that was so different from the other parks.
That's amazing. I've never come across that. Yeah, doesn't it? I want to go so badly.
Like fine dining with 7-layer cake.
Yeah. I want the 7-layer cake.
Sure you're at 34, Kirk, if you're eating 7-layer cake? I don't know.
I did break. I broke the diet while I was there. It's not like I'm going to be at Super Nintendo World a lot, so I feel like this is one of the special occasions where I can eat what I want. But that's partially why I chose the soup. I figured that was going to be better than the cheeseburger and fries.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, true. Was the cheeseburger named after anything? Like mushroom soup, I get. We're in the Mushroom Kingdom. Cheeseburger? How does that fit in?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was just cheeseburger and fries. I could be wrong. Maybe my memory is faded on that, but I don't remember a clever name. In fact, that's one of the reasons. Another reason why I chose the soup is because, I'm going to get a picture of it, and it came in like there was a mushroom cap on top of it. You had to remove the cap,
really,
in order to get down to the soup. And then there were like these 3 mushroom coins in it that
what?
Yeah, they kind of melted a little bit, and then you ate them with
edible?
the soup. Yes, edible.
Okay.
Well, I hope you're
I'm just making sure.
I didn't verify they're edible.
You didn't even
Maybe
try.
that's why I don't remember the
No.
cheeseburger. I got the wrong kind of mushroom.
Wow, that's cool. I don't even know if I like mushroom soup, but I want to try it. So
It's cool with the cap that keeps it warm, right? You know, keep it fresh. It's a cool touch.
It's the cap.
At any other park, they would make you pay for that cap, and then they would say it's a souvenir, and you would take it home. But not here. No, they take it back and they wash it and make it nice and clean for the next diner.
Amazing. That sounds so cool. Thank you. I don't know. What do you think, Trevor? It's given me a very good visual. I mean, I know you've written the review on the site, which is awesome too, but it just gives you a really good visual kind of experience. Oh, well, I mean, in my mind, it's visual. Obviously, I'm not there and I haven't seen it apart from your photos, but just hearing it from you first person, it just firsthand, it just helps to kind of picture what it's like. Yeah.
And I would definitely say any Nintendo fan should go. Don't expect to kill the whole day there. Go in with expectations where it's about 3-4 hours worth of entertainment. But it's not like Universal Studios doesn't have anything else to do. So go in, get your reservation. If you do have to tell them what time you're going to be there still when you go, then go there right away, pick your time, enjoy yourself in the rest of the park, and then you'll certainly enjoy yourself in Super Nintendo World.
Wow. Brilliant.
Bring money.
Yeah, bring money.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, that's why I asked about merchandise. I would be a sucker in that store because I just, especially when it comes to Nintendo merchandise, I already have a lot, but there's no way I would leave without buying anything. So, yeah. Did they have Amiibo
there? I saw no Amiibo either there or in the gift shop at City Walks. Sadly.
Dang. That's all right. I get my Amiibo fixed elsewhere.
Maybe Roger walked through ahead of you and cleaned them out.
Yeah, probably. I do have just a side note. I have pre-ordered a lot of Amiibo recently because, as you may probably know, they're re-releasing all of the Zelda Amiibo are being released because of Tears of the Kingdom, I assume, which is great because I don't have many Legend of Zelda Amiibo. So I pre-ordered, I think there's like 20. I cannot afford all 20 of them, but I have pre-ordered, I think like 6 or 7. So pretty excited to get those.
That's cool. I don't know if the re-release was announced stateside. I don't remember seeing it.
You're right. Actually, no, we were talking about this, weren't we, recently, Trav? I think it's just Australia and New Zealand, which is kind of crazy. So lucky me, but yeah.
I gotta imagine that they're gonna though.
I assume so, right? They're not just making them. They would work universally. They're not like it's not like
there's listing rumors. I just haven't heard anything like confirmed. So
yeah. So that was cool. And also, just quickly, I did get King Dedede. Is that how you say his name? From Kirby. I never know how to pronounce his name. I actually just got that this week because they re-released that as well. So that was cool.
Is that compatible with Return to Dreamland? Do you know?
It is, but you don't. It's more. It was released originally for. Is it Planet? What's the
Robobot?
Game? Yeah,
right?
Robobot. I think it was released for that specifically. So we did some testing. We actually did some testing with Amiibo yesterday because I was playing the new Kirby game, Return to Dream Land Deluxe, and all the Amiibo seem to work. Like, excuse me, even Mario gives you kind of like items, which is really cool. So with the actual Kirby Amiibo, you get things like masks and things like that. So yeah, I mean, this game. Have you played it, Trev? Have you played the new Kirby?
I haven't played it on Switch, but I do have it on Wii.
On the Wii, yeah.
So and it was fun. I mean, I like pretty much every Kirby game that I've played. So
yeah, well, I mean, I haven't played every Kirby game, but the ones I have played, I've really enjoyed. And I hadn't played this one on the Wii, so this is a really good one for me. And I played the demo a couple of weeks ago when it came out, and that really enjoyed it. We finished it, my kids and I went through and played every level we could, did all the mini games we could, or sub games as they're called in Kirby. And so now that I have the full game, which I'm currently reviewing, I've got everything. It's opened up the whole world, and it's
I have it on good authority. The review is going to come out next week.
Yes, you might be right about that. It is a work in progress. Yes, and this weekend has seen me play quite a few hours in that game, which is cool. It's visually really good. Obviously, the graphics have been enhanced. It does have all these sub games. There must be the sub games actually Kirby is Kirby. It's like a platformer, right, at heart, and it's got copy abilities, and you can float and, get rid of enemies and all the rest, and collect. There's obviously a lot to collect as well, collecting stars and collecting those special, I don't actually know what they're called, the special things that you have to collect in every level. And then there's this whole sub-game world, which is, I believe, completely new in this version. It wasn't in the Wii version, right, Trev?
There's a handful of new things. I actually I wrote about it in the issue, but I don't remember off the top of my head. But
I'm pretty sure from what I've read that the sub games, as they're called, it's in a separate kind of area of the game. So you can kind of choose to go to the world map and do your levels, or you can kind of choose to go to this. It's always like a theme park, actually. It's set up like a theme park, and you're floating around on a star, going to each of these sub games and playing whichever one you want. And there's missions. So playing the games just gives you a completion of a mission. But there are 100 missions across all of these games. So you have to play it wearing. Yeah, there's a lot. I think we did like 40 yesterday. So we're doing pretty well. But you have to in one, you have to throw shuriken at a target that moves past, which is actually really fun. And that was in the demo too, actually, that one. And if you get a certain point, if you get a certain maximum number of points, you get a mission, you complete the mission. Or if you even play the sub game wearing a particular mask, that's completing a mission. So you have to collect the mask first, obviously, and then go back and play it wearing the mask. So that's really fun. And the masks are really cute. Like there must be, I should have counted. It looks like it's a bit like a Lego game. When you see all the minifigures that you unlock and there's like question marks over their heads when you haven't unlocked them. You know what I'm saying? So there's like a list of circles. Like it looks like 50 or 100. I don't know. There's a lot. So there's heaps. And every time you unlock a mask, it obviously places that in place of the question mark. So you can see all the ones you have. You've got like Rick, Rick the guinea pig or the hamster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You've got Meta Knight, you've got King Dedede, you've got kind of any and every character you can think of that's ever made an appearance in a Kirby game. It's there. And even multiple versions. Like there's Rick, and then there's like Pink Rick, or I think it's Pink Rick. It looks like a pink version of Rick. And there's like Meta Knight, and there's Dark Meta Knight, and then there's like some other version of Meta Knight. There's like all these different versions. It's really cool, and they're so cute. They're just adorable. And you put the mask on your little Kirby character or whoever you're playing as, and you can just tap a button to take the mask off if you want to. But it's just adorable. It's like everything about Kirby is just so cute.
Oh, nice.
I wonder, was there any Kirby mentioned at Super Nintendo World, Kirk?
I don't think so. I don't. If there was, I didn't make a mental note of it. So it would have been something just, kind of as an aside.
Yeah.
He had to have been there somewhere. I mean, in some capacity.
He was hiding with the Pikmin.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I wonder if the Tokyo version or version of this Super Nintendo World, I wonder if they would have more Kirby related or even Pikmin related stuff, because it seems very Japanese. Like it's so quirky in its gameplay with the masks and the just like in Kirby Return to Dream Land Deluxe, and I'm sure it was probably the same in the Wii version. You get this giant ultra sword at some points in the game. Did you remember that, Trev? And you can like slash through enemies and mountains even, and things just explode around you, and there's stars to collect, and it's just
was the big. I don't know what the. I think that was the cover art for the Wii version. I don't know if it's the same on Switch, but
he was holding a big sword on that cover, actually. Yeah.
I remember that was like the big eye-catching beasts.
Yeah, and there's a couple of new copy abilities, which I don't think I've, come across yet. I think there's the sand ability and another new one, which I haven't come across just yet. But yeah, there's a few new ones there. So it feels like and as I said, I haven't played the Wii version, but it does feel like it's been built from the ground. Like it's a not just a port, it's a kind of remake, if that makes sense. Like graphically enhanced, cool. New mini games, new copy abilities. And I don't know if this was in the Wii version either, Trev, but there is kind of this challenge mode as well. So you play your levels, right? And they're the standard. Kirby's not terribly difficult, which I like because it's a bit different to, say, Mario, which can be more challenging. These are fairly easy, and you can even make it easier for yourself, which is great for kids. You can turn on a setting where one of the protagonists who you're helping out in the story can rescue you if you fall off. So if you fall down a cliff, normally that would be death, but he will kind of fly down and pick you up and put you back onto land. So you can't die by falling, basically, is what I'm saying, which makes it even easier. So that's another way that it's kind of more accessible, I guess, to different audiences.
That's cool. They did have challenge stages, but I think the Switch version has more.
Yeah, I've only unlocked one so far. You have to collect a certain amount of objects to unlock them. So far we've just unlocked the one, and we did that yesterday. And you can get, bronze, silver, or gold. So it is really hard to get. Like I did it a bunch of times, and I still only got silver. Just it's limited by time. It's limited by the amount of damage you take, because you lose 500 points if you hit an enemy, and the amount of stars you collect. And there's gold stars and there's secret areas as well. So you have to kind of rush through it, but also you have to know where to go, and you've got to manage your path, because some paths will take you to where there's more stars to collect than others, and so you don't want to backtrack because you haven't got the time to do it. So yeah, obviously the more you do it, the better at it you get. But yeah, it's a nice little extra challenge for people who do want that kind of, not difficult exactly, but just a high level of difficulty, and also just to keep the game going after you finish it. Like there's just way more to do. So it's a game that will keep me busy for a while, which is really cool.
And it's cool. You got the, you or Kirk, you guys with families, kids, you can play it in multiplayer, because I only ever played it in 2-player with my wife. So
yeah, and it is really fun. We played the 3 of us yesterday, and it's crazy. And you can carry each other around. It's a bit like Yoshi carrying Mario. You can sort of hold one of them, which is just weird. It's useless, but it's adorable. You can obviously swallow each other, and then you can kind of compete, I guess, for copy abilities. Like if there's an enemy ahead, he's got a cool ability. You're like, oh, I want that ability. No, I want that ability. And it's like, oh, you take the ability. And I like even that you need to have certain abilities to get the extra collectibles in some levels. Like you need to be the sword Kirby to cut a rope in one level to get this hidden collectible that you can't reach without the sword, basically. So yeah, it's kind of like you have to go back to play these levels with the right abilities in tow. Otherwise, you're not going to collect everything. So if you're a completionist, there's heaps to do. There's so much to do, which is really cool. So yeah, that's definitely one of the main things I've been playing lately. And that's when I said earlier about Nintendo, this is a good time of year, or a good kind of era to be a Nintendo fan. I know it's a re-release or a report, but I think the original is 12 odd years old. So it's from 2011, the Wii version, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's been around recently. And Kirby is feeling a lot of love at the moment, with Forgotten Land last year. Yeah.
That was our runner-up for Game of the Year.
Which I'm still yet to get. That's the other thing we're talking about, choosing which games to play. But I did want to ask you guys whether you've been playing some of the other games that have come out recently, which includes, Octopath 2 or Metroid, all the Game Boy Advance games that have just been released on the Switch as part of the online access. What do we think about all these, and which ones are we playing and which ones are we enjoying? Maybe Trev, do you have?
Yeah, well, I I've been playing. Well, I should be playing more review games, but I've really been playing a lot of Metroid Prime Remastered. I held out for a physical copy, and thankfully I got one day of release. I guess some people have been having a hard time finding it, but I didn't have any issues. And by the time I got that, it had already been out a couple of weeks. So I'm like, I got to catch up to everyone, and I've kind of been lost in that for the past 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever.
How far through it do you think you are?
I was trying to remember from playing on the GameCube. It only says 30%, but I'm pretty sure the percentage is based on like everything, like extras, like have I missed like a missile pickup, or have I scanned like everything? So it's hard to tell. I've gotten what's my next power up? I'd have to check, but I put a good dent in it. But I still got a ways to go, because I'm playing, like, it's not a 2-player game, but my wife's watching me, so she's enjoying checking out the just the settings, the universe, reading some of the lore, and and a lot of it's to me forgetting, like I was telling you before, I think, Gemma, like I'll get to some rooms and I'll be like, I don't remember this at all. And then the next room, I'll be like, oh, I totally remember this puzzle. But so it's kind of, it's like hit or miss with my memory. But
that's good though, I guess. Because this must be, what year did the GameCube version come out?
2002 or 2003. I think I got it in 2003, but I didn't get it day one.
Wow. So it's like a 20th anniversary almost, really.
Yeah, it's time. And I probably haven't played it since like the Wii came out. So it shows you how long ago it was. But it's a great game and I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we gave it a 10 in our review. How often does that happen?
Yeah, not often. Not often at all. I think I can only think of a handful of games that have got that. I think Mario Odyssey, which I reviewed, I gave that 10. And I think did we give Mario and Rabbids sequel, Sparks of Hope? I think that might have got a 10.
Yeah, that was a 10.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Are you a Metroid fan, Kirk? Do you play the Metroid series?
I am. I came into Metroid a bit late. I think I played Metroid Prime, and then the package that they had for the Wii. I played through all of them to completion, and I played Other M, which as Trevor and I have discussed, I think is a fine game. But we won't get into that right now. But yeah, I haven't picked up. I haven't picked up Prime yet. I'm going to. I think at this point, what I want to do is get it so I can watch my kids play it instead of going through it myself again, because it is one of those games that I think helps you understand how those things work and how you can get like so involved in the story and the action behind something like that it could be a very influential game for people who haven't played it. So I'm looking forward to watching them do so.
Cool. I like that. It's like generational then as well. Like you've obviously enjoyed it in the past and now your kids are enjoying it. Yeah, I like that. That's nice. And that's one of the benefits, I think, of these re-releases. Sometimes it can be a negative person could see it as kind of like, well, this is already a thing that's out. But it's also not easy to find a GameCube or even a Wii necessarily to play these old games. And with the benefit of time and enhanced graphics, I mean, we obviously benefit from that as well. But also just giving it to a new audience. Like these are classic games for a reason. You know, they're good. They were good at the time. They're good now. So I don't know. I kind of celebrate that as long as we're not doing it, overdoing it or doing it for games that don't deserve it. But I think there's a balance to be had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. It's like a classic album. I mean, there's no reason you don't listen to an album that was recorded in the 70s just because it came out in the 70s. If they remaster it and put it on a better technology, buy it and listen to it.
That's a good analogy. Yeah, I like that. That's really true. Yeah. And I wanted to ask you whether anyone's playing Octopath. I am not, but I know, I thought Kirk, for example, maybe had tried it because I know you like RPGs. Is this one of the ones on your list or not really? Not yet.
It is on my list. I haven't. There are too many things I'm getting through right now, and that game will take up a lot of time.
Yes, definitely.
I'll wait until things clear up. Hopefully, I have a gap between what's coming out now and when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out. Because after Breath of the Wild, like everybody else, my dance card is full.
Yeah, I know. That's going to be occupying a lot of people's time for a long time.
I might take my sabbatical then.
Sorry, I'll use sabbatical? Yeah, okay.
I'm playing.
Yeah, I know people like friends of mine are thinking of taking the days off work, around release as well, just to be able to really immerse themselves in the game. So, people take it seriously and it's, it's a big deal. It's a big release. So, I can't remember how many days it is now until release. I know there's a Twitter channel that's like every day it says X number of days until. Yeah.
It's only a couple months now, coming out May.
Is it 12? I think I should know that, but
that sounds right.
I think it's 68 days.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds about right.
I have a countdown timer on my clock, and I usually set it to when the next big game is coming out. And I think 68 would have been, I set that for Breath of the Wild 2.
Right. See, now that is a true fan. Why are we not doing that, Trev? I need to set that up.
and I will take that day off work. I take days off work for release days for Fire Emblem and Zelda.
Nice. Awesome.
And Xenoblade.
Better than the Doomsday Clock. I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah.
That's only little. That's what, 2 months and a week? Not even a week.
Yeah. Basically. Very, very soon. And what did we think? And I know we did a Coopercast about the whole Nintendo Direct, so maybe you guys would have talked about the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance stuff a little bit in there. But has anyone played any of those? Do we like that inclusion? Were we surprised or impressed? Kirk, did you have any thoughts?
I was very happy to see Minish Cap in there. Mm-hmm. That was the second Zelda game that I ever played through to completion after I finished Wind Waker, which was the game that, and again, I came into all this a bit late. My first Nintendo system was the GameCube. Mm-hmm. After I got that and played Wind Waker, then I decided I needed a handheld device. So I went and bought a Game Boy Advance. And the first game I picked up was Minish Cap. And I absolutely love that too. So that, like a lot of people, the first or second Zelda game they play is the one that just, is closest to their heart. And with me, that's Minish Cap. So I pulled that up on the Switch Lite that we have here, which I think is the perfect size for that game. And when I'm not on the bigger screen or when someone else has the Nintendo, then that's the game I'll sit down and play. And I love that. And I've told my youngest son that I'm going to, it sounds like I'm making him. I said I'm going to make him start that because he's at the age now where he's got to figure out what gaming is. I feel as my dad, it's my job to help him play something other than Retro Bowl on his iPod Touch. So I'm going to get him started and see if that clicks for him.
Hopefully it does.
Hey, Retro Bowl's on the Switch. At least play it on the Switch.
He likes to get on the couch and hide under some covers and completely disappear when he's playing his game. So I guess he can do that with the Switch. Yeah, you're right.
That's true. It's portable. It's a hybrid.
But then I don't get my gaming time. So I'll keep him on the iPod.
Yeah.
Minish Cap is great, though.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a fan favorite. And I've had similar stories from people here at home, like friends of mine that are fans, and that's this. As soon as that was announced, they jumped straight on and played that game. So, yeah, it's one of my favorites too. I remember finishing that one because I haven't finished all of the Zelda games. I'm a bit slack that way, but that one I did finish and have fond memories of that one for sure. Yeah,
I never got all the Kinstone pieces though.
I never got 100%. I finished it, but I didn't complete it. Is that how we'll separate it? I finished it, but didn't complete.
I do like that mechanic, though. I'd like to see something like that return.
I do. I mean, I think we're overdue for another top-down Zelda game, I have to say. Tears of the Kingdom, yes, excited, and we'll love it, I'm sure. But can we get another top-down next?
We already want more. It's not out, and we want more.
I know, right? Nintendo fans cannot be satisfied. I'm sorry. It's just they make things too good. What do you expect? So anyway, and I think Trev, did you have any Game Boy or Game Boy Advance kind of titles that
we well, I know I said I'm only playing Metroid, but we are playing some Super Mario 3, which I think on the Game Boy is Super Mario Advance 4, maybe.
Not
the naming's weird, but I played that game so many times on NES and SNES and Wii and Virtual Console and whatnot. But any excuse to replay it again. And I'm excited to check out the e-reader levels because I never played those. So
true, me neither.
Yeah, and it looks great. I mean, I already thought the game looked good, but looks great with the GBA colors and it's just timeless. I mean, we had a Koopa cast talking about the NES trilogy not that long ago, and
we did. Yeah,
it's one of my favorites, and no matter what system I play it on.
I think we were torn between 3 and Super Mario Land, between which one we concurred on as being the best. And I've always said my favorite is Super Mario Land, but Super Mario 3 is really, really good. So, I definitely had a go of that as well on the Game Boy Advance via the Switch online as well. So once that came out, that was one of the ones I jumped straight into just because it is so accessible and nostalgic and classic and fun. So, that was definitely one I played. I also had to play Tetris. I don't know. I just had to play Tetris on the Game Boy. Oddly, classic. And oddly, even though I've played Tetris over the years in various forms. I mean, there's even that Switch Tetris 99 that was out. So it's not like I haven't played Tetris recently. But for some reason, when I first played Tetris, the Game Boy version recently, like in the last couple of weeks, I crashed out really quickly. I started at like level 5, which is not that hard. And then I I don't know what I did wrong. I'm like, oh, that was weird. But then I played again straight away, and I did really well. So yeah, I think it was just
you're just shaking off the rust.
Yeah, check it up. I think I just didn't get enough of the tall, skinny blocks that I was saving up for to get an actual Tetris. I was too greedy, too soon. It just backfired spectacularly. So
I can't criticize. You've seen me play Dr. Mario, so you know how I am with puzzle games.
Yes, that's all good. It's so fun. I love Dr. Mario too, honestly. But we are coming up on the sort of running out of time now, which is amazing. We've had a great time talking about all these games. I've loved it. Is there anything else anyone would like to say before we kind of close off? Anything else anyone wants to highlight or talk about before we kind of say goodbye?
I just want to thank people for sticking with us. I know it was a long gap in between episodes, and it's been a slow start to 2023 for the podcast. But if you're giving us a listen, thanks for sticking around. It means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is always a fun time for us. So we hope you have fun listening as well. And thank you both for joining me. Hopefully, I don't know if we'll all three be back next week or what that roster will look like, but everyone on the team is always welcome. So we'll see how that pans out week to week. But for now, thank you, Kirk. Thank you, Trev. Thank you, listeners. If you want to follow us, we're on twitter.com/Pure Nintendo. You can support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Pure Nintendo, and our website, which is full of many, many reviews as well as news and other articles, is just purenintendo.com. So find how you would like to follow us, and please do so. Thank you for your support. Thank you both, and game on, I guess. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks a lot.
Bye.